Are you hiring? With Indeed, you can post a job in minutes, set up screener questions, then zero in on your short list of qualified candidates using an online dashboard. Get started today at Indeed.com/podcast. That's Indeed.com/podcast.
Peppy music. Love it. Right? Peppy, are you vibing right now?
Holy smokes, what did you take this morning?
Too much coffee.
Wow.
Good Thursday morning, everybody. Welcome in to another edition of Golic and Wingo on ESPN Radio und ESPN2. Glad you're with us. Mike Golic, Trey Wingo here with you. I'm angry this morning, though.
You're angry?
I'm upset.
So you're peppy
angry.
and angry.
I'm a little peppy.
All right.
I'm a little percolated, and I'm a little angry.
Why angry?
Because we had Sean Payton on the show yesterday.
Yes, we did.
You asked a great question about how are you concerned about your quarterback being 39 years old, and he didn't just come out and say, hey, guys, later on today we're trading for Teddy Bridgewater.
That's exactly right.
I'm a little upset.
We're going to take
Sean
care
Payton.
of that situation.
Yeah.
So he was probably snickering
Yes.
as he was answering that question. I said, how long's your window of opportunity there with the 39-year-old quarterback?
Like,
well, stay tuned. But your bottom line will be busy later today.
All he had to say was, Mike, that's a great question. We're addressing that later on today.
Yes, we are. You'll hear about it. It'll be buried behind the Aaron Rodgers getting bags and bags of money news.
I mean, a lot went down after we
it did.
finished. So I'm proposing that no news can break after 10 o'clock because it should happen during our show.
Oh, it can break after 10. I just won't care about it.
Well, you'll care about the next
day. It's exactly
but
right.
I'm just saying, if we have you on the show, Sean Payton, you might always want to go ahead and say, hey, guys, we're trading for Teddy.
Yeah, that wasn't cool. We're going to make sure we bring that up the next time around. Yeah.
I'm not really upset.
No, we're not.
But a lot went down, and we're getting closer and closer to full immersion in the football season with college football beginning a week one this week. And, of course, we are now a week away from the start of the NFL season. And the question remains still whether or not Carson Wentz will be there and ready to roll week one, Thursday night when they begin the season at home against the Atlanta Falcons. Basically, there's a lot to get to, Mike.
Yes, there is.
So we should
Let's jump to it.
And let's start with, we didn't have to wait long, did we?
We did not.
The new record is set in Major League Baseball.
The 0-2. And White hits it high in the air and pretty deep to left field down the line. Going back on it is Martini at the wall looking up. See you later! See you later! Into the Landry's Crawford boxes. A walk-off home run for Tyler White and the Astros. Beat the A's in the bottom of the ninth, 5-4.
That the call on KBME, and that was the 81st walk-off home run of the season, breaking the record set in 2004, and they had tied the record the day before.
How about that? We knew it was going to happen, but we didn't figure they'd get it out of the way. We now have 75 different players have combined for these 81 walk-off home runs. And as far as teams are concerned now, we're looking possibly for another record. The Cardinals lead the way with 7 of those walk-off home runs. The record, 1995, the Cleveland Indians
with
9.
I like.
So
let's keep the theme going.
And there's a couple of teams. 2017, the A's had 8. In 1986, the Padres had 8. So right now, the Cardinals have 29 games to go, and they need 2 to tie, 3 to set that record. And there's all kind of home run records going on this year. So why not this year? Why not now? But congrats to all of Major League Baseball and those 75 players that have hit 81 walk-off home runs. You all get an individual plaque.
Yes.
No, you don't. Congratulations, you have a record.
Do we want to book it that the Cardinals are going to?
No, I don't know.
No?
29 games, you need 3 to break it. 3 walk-off home runs to be in that situation. I'm going to say no.
Right. Are we booking it later today? I think we are, right?
We should have booked it.
See, that's a little tease,
little book it tease.
Book it tease we got in there
wow.
to what's trending. We're so nuanced on so many layers on this show. It's really quite impressive. You know what else is quite impressive?
What's that?
Christian Yelich.
Mm-hmm.
Hit for the cycle for the Brewers. And Jesus Aguilar hit a home run in the 10th inning as Milwaukee beat the Reds 13-12. Yelich went 6 for 6, becoming the 4th player in the live ball era.
Live ball era.
Not the modern era, Mike.
No.
The modern era goes back to 1900 because things are the same.
Right.
The live ball era.
Live ball era.
Goes back to 1920.
And the reason we had to include that so we can get Bobby Veach in there as one of the others that had done it.
Big friend of Harry Hooper.
Ian Kinsler did it in 2009. Rondell White did it in 1995. And Bobby Veach. Got to find out, Riley, if Bobby Veach had a nickname.
Yeah,
we're going to need a nickname for Bobby Veach. Thank you very much.
We did our Harry Hooper research. What was the other one we did? There's somebody else.
Everybody had a nickname back then. But Bobby Veach had to have some kind of a nickname.
BB. B-Man.
78th instance in modern era of a player going 6 for 6 or better. So there you go. Nice night for him. Nice football game there, 13-12.
And then missed the extra point. They tried for 2. It didn't work out.
Onward we move. And what did Yelich say after the game?
This is so great.
Yeah.
Kristen Yelich sat in a chair and just said, I'm so tired. I'm so tired.
I'm so tired.
I hit 6 times. I'm so tired. Please help me. Oh, but
That's
congratulations
so good.
to him.
Absolutely right.
It was incredible. Brewers manager Craig Counsell is coming up, and you're thinking he can't do it again, and he does it again. He did everything tonight. He really did. He's driving the bus home tonight. Don't, because he would be a very tired driver.
Yes, he would.
And that would be a very, very bad thing. Well, they survived day 2 of the heat wave at the U.S. Open, and Serena and Venus survived, which means get ready for the latest Grand Slam installment of Serena versus Venus, or Williams versus Williams.
Yeah,
one big difference this time. They'll be meeting in the 3rd round at the U.S. Open, their earliest showdown.
Earliest one.
Golic at a major tournament in 20 years.
Yeah, Serena leads this series 17-12, including 10-5 at the major. So, we've gone through a lot with this when they were both really dominant.
Right.
And it was starting to be whispered, was it being a setup when they would meet? Was one going to give the win to the other?
Yeah.
Was Dad setting it all up? There was so much of that going on.
We love conspiracy
years ago.
theories here.
Yeah, wasn't there? But good for them. I mean, still getting after it for as long as they've been in tennis and meeting in these. Again, as you mentioned, though, the earliest they've ever met in a major.
Yeah, and again, the funny part is they sort of had actually both interesting takes after the win. Here is our Pam Shriver talking to Venus after her win, knowing what's coming next.
What do you think about 20 years of playing your younger sister at the majors, 21 and a half years later, playing again here?
Yeah, I mean, the last time we played the Australian, it was 2 against 1, so at least this time...
That was when Serena was pregnant, but only Venus, you were one of the few that knew.
So, yeah, at least this time it'll be fair.
That's a great line.
Let
me tell you, that is a great line.
Yeah,
that's
really
very
good.
Cool, yeah.
So that was Venus after her win. Then Serena won her match, and Renee Stubbs, we know, of course, as Stubbsy, asked Serena about what Venus had said.
Now, Venus said in her post-match interview that the last time you played it was unfair because it was 2 against 1. How do you feel about that?
Yes, the last time we played in the Grand Slam, I may have had a little bit of an advantage, but seeing that I don't have that advantage this time, that's going to be hard. But
for her or for you?
For me, it's obviously a tough match, and, it's so young in the tournament, but it is what it is. It's not the end of the world. We would rather have met later, but, we're both going to come out, per usual, do our best, play in front of you guys, and... Normally, I would say cheer for me, but, whoever you're feeling like, cheer for me or Venus, either one will work. So
It is always weird when they play each other.
It is, and it's so incredible of how great they have been and certainly still are. And for all the tennis they played together growing up, there is that great Nike commercial out with Serena
fantastic.
as a kid and her dad.
Splicing the video together,
It is fantastic. But just think about all the times they practiced and played as kids together.
Yeah.
And now they've played 19 times in professional tennis, and now it'll be the 16th time in a major. It's really an amazing story, as one of them may go down as one of the greatest athletes all time, men or women, doesn't matter. And as siblings, who are we talking about? You're talking about the two of them. You're talking about Peyton and Eli.
Yeah.
I mean, from a sibling standpoint, I'm sure there are tons of others out there, but some of the greatest of all time.
Yeah,
without a doubt.
Tim and Matt.
The Golic brothers.
There you go, because there's 3 of you guys. Absolutely.
Woo, but it's an incredible story for these two that gets to continue.
Absolutely. And again, in these head-to-head matches, Serena leads 17-12, including 10. She's 10-5 against Venus at majors. It is, but I mean, they love it because of what it means. But it is sort of whenever they play each other, it's always like a little bit of a lethargic.
Sure, it is.
It's awkward.
Well, I mean, you're so motivated, especially in a major, to win and move on. But this is against your siblings, against your sister. So you don't see that exuberance that you normally feel because you don't want to do that in front of your sibling.
No, exactly right. But again, we'll enjoy it. It'll be Friday night at the U.S. Open. Be a lot of fun. Just part of what is going to be an awesome weekend in sports starting tonight with some college football games. And then there's the National Football League. Oh, it's so close, Mike. A week from today. And big shakeups, as we alluded to off the top. Thanks, Sean Payton, for not telling us what you were going to do when we had you on. The Jets clarified and cleared out their crowded quarterback situation by trading Teddy Bridgewater to the Saints. They get a third-round pick, Mike.
Right,
which is a pretty good commodity for the Jets to get back.
Yeah, it is. So Teddy and a sixth-rounder, I believe, went to the Saints, and the Jets get back a third-rounder. I look at it a little bit, too, and we'll obviously talk more about this with Teddy Bridgewater. This is a first-round draft pick quarterback who was starting for the Minnesota Vikings, was playing well, and a lot of people thought, wow, this kid is really taking hold of this team, is really growing into that position, and is looking like a bright career, has a horrific injury in practice, and now, I mean, he was the best quarterback in the Jets camp. Yep. He was the best quarterback in the Jets camp. Let's make no mistake. He was playing the best of all the quarterbacks in Jets camp. And he wasn't going to see the field for them. We all knew that. And now he gets traded I'm just thinking it from his side. He gets traded to a team that's certainly in it, to be able to compete. But he is so clearly the backup and will never see the field unless Drew Brees, God forbid for Saint fans out there, gets hurt. So as long as he's there. So it's like an insurance policy for the Saints a bit. But for a guy who had such a promising career as a starter, a young starter in the league, now is a complete backup until either Drew Brees is done or he ends up on another team.
And again, if you want to go into the details of really what happened with him in Minnesota, there was a great column on ESPN.com a few days ago just about how horrific that knee injury was. And where he is now. That's a great story. All right, Golic and Wingo on ESPN Radio and ESPN2. We are presented by Progressive Insurance. All phone guests joined us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. By the way, you can always get in touch with us, 1-800-Flowers.com Twitter feed, @Golic and Wingo, or pour some out for Brett. You can also call in 860-506-5505. We're asking for your craziest sibling rivalry as you grew up with your brother or sister in light of what's going on with Serena and Venus. But let's sound off more on this Bridgewater trade. Sound off brought to you by ADT. Considering home security? Well, consider this. For 140 years, ADT has helped stop more crime than any other home security company. Visit ADT.com to learn more.
Can I ask you a quick question?
Yeah.
When you did this, and then pour some out for Brett, who's this Brett person
you're right, I've
about?
completely forgotten.
Who?
You move on, they don't exist anymore.
I don't know who that is.
That's exactly. You know what? You are exactly right.
Yeah.
And I'm an idiot for bringing up his
name.
I
mean, our researcher is Riley.
Rileyology.
Yeah.
It's the greatest segment every week. Okay. Rhyology.
All right.
We're going to workshop that.
We're going to workshop Rhyology. We're looking forward to that one. So there's a lot of layers to get into here with the trade of Teddy Bridgewater. Let's start first and foremost from the Jets' perspective. And basically, Adam Schefter lays it out pretty clearly. Well, that this means what we all thought was going to happen is going to happen. Sam Darnold's going to be the guy.
From the Jets' perspective, look, Josh McCown is a respected veteran leader that they like. Sam Darnold they had and has been more impressive than even they thought or realized. Everybody believes that Sam Darnold will wind up starting opening night, the Monday Night Football game against the Detroit Lions. Josh McCown will be his backup, and by trading Bridgewater and getting back essentially a move up 3 rounds in the draft into the 3rd round for Bridgewater in the 6th, the Jets feel like they're getting extra draft capital to make up for some of the draft capital that they traded away to move up to get what turned out to be Sam Darnold.
Listen, there's no doubt Sam Darnold's a starter, and I think from the quarterback room situation, they're in pretty good place.
Yes,
Josh McCown, that's like having another coach out there for what he can offer. Sam Darnold, whether it's in the classroom, whether it's in walkthrough, whether it's in film, on game day, to be that extra voice, extra set of eyes out there, that it's in a great position. But now, the Jets, they're going to go through a rookie quarterback lumps. They're just going to. You can say Sam Darnold is playing the best of all the rookies right now, and he's going to start, and I get it. He's playing well. As a matter of fact, I have been impressed with all these rookie quarterbacks, the way they've done it. But Sam Darnold is clearly going to be the starter, but he's going to be a rookie quarterback. So temper the thought process,
right? Because
there's not a lot of weapons to throw to with the Jets either. Let's not get carried away. And the O-line, can have some issues as well. So Sam Darnold is going to make some plays where you're going to say, man, we love this guy, and he's going to make some plays that you say, well, he's a rookie, and he's going to get hit as well. You're going to have a rookie quarterback for your team. So keep everything in moderation if you can, and I don't know if Jet fans can do that, and understand that this is for the next decade or longer. And this is about a process of which Josh McCown will help in this process, and they'll continue to build around Darnold for the future.
Yeah, and again, if you're wondering, well, what does this mean for the Game 4 preseason? It means Jet fans are going to see a lot of John Wolford. Okay, because Sam Darnold's probably not going to see the field. I'm not sure Josh McCown's going to see much of it either. And if you're wondering, who the hell is John Wolford? Well, he's a quarterback that played at Wake Forest last year and led the ACC with 29 passing touchdowns.
Wow, see, there you go.
So there you go. So it's an opportunity for John Wolford, again, to showcase his skills tonight.
And to go to the general topic, and we brought this some up yesterday, this is what tonight is. Tonight is that opportunity for a lot of the back-end guys to get more tape, and either to be on this team, the practice squad, or have tape for another team. Because we had coaches on yesterday, and to a man, they always say, we're looking at other teams out there, and they may, while you may have your 53 ready to go, there may be a guy in that other team that you're waiting to get released that you know you want that will knock off a guy that's going to be on your probable 53-man roster. The first couple of weeks of the season really get interesting as far as those moves are concerned.
Absolutely. And again, by the way, should Darnold end up doing what we think he's going to do, which is going to be the Week 1 starter, Sam Darnold will be the youngest Week 1 starter in the NFL since the NFL came to be what it is now. Since the AFL-NFL merger of 1970, Sam Darnold will be the youngest Week 1 starter. You know, it's interesting. His nickname at USC was the DNA because of the way he carried himself and all that kind of stuff, and that sort of translates here to the next level. So that's the Jets side of it.
Right.
Then there's the other side of it. And to me, this is almost the more interesting side of this because I think we all knew that whether it was Week 1, Week 3, whatever, the Jets were going that way with Sam Darnold. What happens now with Teddy Bridgewater in New Orleans is fascinating because we all know that essentially until Drew Brees either gets injured or decides to stop playing,
he's a quarterback.
He's the quarterback.
Yes, he is.
So basically what we have now, again, with Teddy Bridgewater in the trade giving up a third-round pick, is a really good insurance policy for this year and maybe something more.
It means that the Saints have a backup for Drew Brees and a potential successor for Drew Brees, somebody that they really like. And people around the league view Teddy Bridgewater as a potential starter. But keep in mind that he is on the last year of his contract. And so he will be a free agent after this year. And any team could go sign him at that point in time, but the Saints would have the ability to franchise him if Drew Brees decided that this were his last year.
Okay, see, this is the part that I find really interesting, okay? Because you know what you have for this year. He's your backup signing a one-year deal. But as you politely and correctly alluded to with Sean Payton when he didn't tell us he was doing this yesterday, you said you got a 39-year-old quarterback. How big is your window? I think having Teddy Bridgewater around potentially extends the championship window because look at this team. They have everything now. They finally fixed that defense last year, Mike, after 3 straight 7-9 seasons when they missed the playoffs. They have Alvin Kamara. They'll have Mark Ingram when he comes back from the 4-game suspension. You can't guard Mike Thomas, a true number 1 wide receiver. You got Ryan Ramczyk that helped solidify that offensive line a year ago. So now you have insurance for Drew Brees this year should he go down. But if you're Teddy Bridgewater and you are looking at the landscape of the NFL, you know that Drew Brees eventually won't be playing.
Right.
And you know that Sean Payton has a lot of weapons around him. I think the idea of maybe hanging out and waiting for your chance in New Orleans would be really enticing for a guy like him, knowing what Sean Payton can do as an offensive play caller and the weapons he has around him to play with.
He's going to learn a lot. Listen, there's no doubt about that. But being a player who wants to play, and all players want to play. I mean, they want to be out there. I wonder if in a private moment he wishes he went somewhere else, say to maybe Denver, Jacksonville, somewhere where, you have a quarterback, but you're not completely set, and the possibility of getting on the field certainly will be there. How about Tampa Bay? We have no idea what's going on with Jameis Winston, who's sitting the first game. You have Fitzgerald at the quarterback position now. Fitzpatrick, I'm sorry, who's been in the league forever. So you wonder in a private moment if he would have rather had been somewhere where the possibility of getting on the field this year could have happened.
Totally fair.
But it didn't happen. I mean, that's obviously not going to happen, at least at this point. So, learning from Sean Payton, learning that offense, then it's just a matter of what happens. I mean, do we think he's going to want to, after this year, hang out there for a couple of more years and just say, I'm going to stay behind Drew Brees? No, hell no, he's not going to want it. He is going to want to be gone from there. Did you see any reason why he would want to stay unless Drew Brees says, next year is my last year, or he puts an end cap to it, which I don't think he's going to do? Why would Teddy want to stay there for 3 more years?
It's interesting. And again, we're sort of jumping ahead of it here, but you have to look at this. You have to look. First of all, It's a great move for the Saints for this year.
Oh, without a doubt.
Because they believe they have a champion. They're one of 5 teams that really believes in the NFC they can win it all.
Let's set that. We think it's a really good move
It's a
for
really
the Saints.
good move for the Saints for this year because they are covered now on what potentially could be a championship team. They are covered at the most important position in football, which is the quarterback. But it is fascinating to think about the tentacles of this going beyond this year.
Agreed.
And the things that it may do. And Sean Payton's a pretty convincing guy.
Mm-hmm.
And look at the history I have with the offense. I mean, it's going to be an interesting conversation that they'll have at some point after this season is over.
Support for the Golic and Wingo Show podcast comes from our friends at Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Let's talk about buying homes for a minute. Because of rising interest rates, there's a lot of unpredictability when it comes to buying a home these days. It's causing a whole lot of anxiety with folks. Well, our friends at Quicken Loans are doing something about it. They're calling it the power buying process, and here's how it works. Quicken Loans will verify your income, assets, and credit in less than 24 hours to give you a verified approval. This gives you the strength of a cash buyer. Then once you're verified, you qualify for their all-new exclusive Rate Shield approval. First, they lock your rate for up to 90 days while you shop. Now here's the best part. If rates go up, your rate stays the same. But if rates go down, your rate also drops. You win either way. It's the kind of thinking you'd expect from America's largest mortgage lender. To get started, go to rocketmortgage.com/Golic. Rate Shield approval only valid on certain 30-year purchase transactions. Additional conditions or exclusions may apply. Based on Quicken Loans data in comparison to public data record. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLSconsumeraccess.org number 3030.
Remember when you couldn't order a ride at the press of a button? Or get online without hearing this? Or get Domino's delivered to over 150,000 unexpected outdoor locations? Wait, what? Introducing Domino's Hotspots. You can finally get pizza delivered right to the beach, the quad, or the dog park. Not at home? Not a problem. Find a Domino's hotspot near you and get 2 medium 2-topping pizzas delivered for $5.99 each. 2-item minimum. Handmade pan pizzas will be extra asked for this limited time offer. Prices, participation, delivery area, and charges may vary. Restrictions apply. Visit Domino's.com for details on Domino's Hotspots.
Golic and Wingo, ESPN Radio and ESPN2, presented by Progressive Insurance. All phone guests join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. And when you're talking about that kind of money, it's time for some Straight Talk. Brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Best phones, best networks, no contracts. Again, Mike, we leave at 10 and all hell breaks loose.
It's unbelievable.
In the NFL. And, of course, besides the big trade, the big news is that Aaron Rodgers got paid. Adam Schefter with a Shefty bomb. A 4-year extension, record-breaking, $134 million. It could be worth up to $180 million in total money. But again, as we always know, it's not about what it could be. It's about what it is. The extension includes $103 million in guarantees and has an average amount of $33.5 million. And you could make the case, Mike, that he's still underpaid.
Yeah, that's for sure.
I mean, look, in his career, when he doesn't play as a starter, the Packers are 6-11-1. They are 5 games under 500 when Aaron is not on the field.
You know, and that's been some of the talk this year with the two quarterbacks clearly in Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady. You know, up there as 1-2. Who would you rather have as quarterback?
Boy, right now, I'd have to take Aaron Rodgers.
I would take Aaron Rodgers as well.
6 years younger.
Listen, Tom Brady's going to go down as the most accomplished quarterback of all time, and in some people's eyes, the best quarterback of all time. Now, those can be two different things, most accomplished and best.
Correct.
At this point, I would take Aaron Rodgers as well, but now Aaron Rodgers is a little bit younger than Tom Brady is. But listen, I'd have either one on my team before, all the New England Patriots fans start losing their mind. The last deal,
he's 34 and Tom's 41.
Last deal he signed was a 5-year, $110 million extension that including a $35 million signing bonus. Did I hear he's getting $58 or $59 million?
$60 million.
$60 million when he signs?
Yeah, $60 million, something close to
Holy smokes.
Yeah, it's a lot of money. Look, I have a philosophy, whether it's 59 or 60, at that point.
It's my understanding that there would be no math.
It doesn't matter. Because it's really just all about being able to carry the bag, right? So it's interesting. We had Kirk Cousins set the market with $84 million in guaranteed money, and now Aaron Rodgers has absolutely blown that away. And I'm glad you brought up that subject about Brady versus Rodgers here, because The one thing that is, to me, the most amazing thing about Brady, outside of the 1 year with Randy Moss, name me an elite level wide receiver.
Well, that's exactly right.
That he's had.
Without question.
And we've had good ones. Don't get me wrong. Edelman's a really good receiver.
He's had good to really good receivers.
He had
one
receiver.
Great wide receiver in Moss, and he has a Hall of Famer, and he has a great tight end in Rob Gronkowski.
Yeah.
And he's had some good and really good receivers, some good backs coming out of the backfield. What he's done, listen, there's no denying. When I made that statement a little bit ago, I know everybody's going to lose their mind. It doesn't mean you think one is bad. They're both great. They're both all-time greats. They're both walking into the Hall of Fame. They're both quarterbacks that when they're done playing, they're in the conversation of all-time greatest when you start talking about the best quarterbacks. And we got to see them both play, along with Peyton Manning.
Yep.
We got to see some of the best of all-time play with Drew Brees. Let's not forget. I mean, the era we're in, and I know it's more of a passing era, but you see the quarterbacks that over the last couple of decades that you've got to see and be part of, some of the greatest of all time. It's been pretty cool. And you mentioned Kirk Cousins. By the way, now he's 5th on the list of guaranteed money.
It's amazing how quickly that changes.
Yeah. Aaron Rodgers was number one at 103. Before that, Kirk Cousins didn't even pass. Matt Ryan has $100 million guaranteed. Matthew Stafford has 92 guaranteed. Andrew Luck has 87 guaranteed. And now Kirk Cousins has 84 guaranteed. We're going to keep Riley working because the 103 guaranteed, which we're all going, wow. How many NBA players are guaranteed $100 million or more? I mean,
a lot.
We have two NFL players guaranteed $100 million now, Aaron Rodgers and Matt Ryan. How many NBA players have deals? Remember, whatever the NBA deal is, whatever that number you see, that's their money. That's their guaranteed money.
I was about to say, that's the difference.
That's a big difference.
We parse the NFL as it could be worth this, but it's actually this.
Yeah.
You know what the NBA deal is? It's worth what it is.
What you see
what
is
it
what
is
you
is
get.
what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
That's exactly where it is for both baseball and the NBA. It's just not that way in the NFL. So if you're wondering, what is it that makes Aaron so good at what he does? Well, our own Jeff Saturday, who, by the way, not a bad career, hiked the ball to Peyton Manning, and then went one season and hiked the ball to Aaron Rodgers. Here's Jeff on what it was like to have Aaron Rodgers' hands on his butt.
To me, this is a no-brainer. I mean, this is, for where he is in his career, this is the best player in football. And what he provides for your team, people will compare, right? Well, Tom Brady takes team-friendly deals and does all these kind of things, which is all true. And Tom Brady, you're talking about one of the greatest to ever play the game. Aaron Rodgers is still working to get in that same conversation, but he'll be there. With the trajectory of his career, he'll be there as well. But what Aaron Rodgers does for the Green Bay Packers and what he would do for any team is he allows off-schedule plays to still become game-defining moments. And there are very few guys, if any, in our game that can compare with what he can do.
Now, and that's a great point, Mike, because you can appreciate this as a former defensive player. Just so people understand, when he says off-schedule plays, explain what Jeff is talking about.
Well, that's when, a play normally for a quarterback we talk about pocket passers.
Correct.
And when the pocket breaks down, normally you'd like to see the defense get to the quarterback and end the play. But when the quarterback escapes and now is doing things on his own, now everything becomes, to use Jeff's term, off schedule. Now we're kind of in freelance zone. Now your DBs have to cover longer. Now as defensive linemen, you're in chase mode, trying to chase down the quarterback into what he's going to do. And to put a number to that, I have a few numbers here for Aaron.
Hit me.
But to put a number to this, most passing touchdowns outside the pocket, which again would lead to a lot of off schedule.
Correct.
In the last 5 seasons, Aaron Rodgers leads the way with 35 of those. Next is Matthew Stafford with 24. So we have 11 more than the next quarterback of outside the pocket or type of off-schedule type plays. As far as, and the greatest one is what don't you want to do in any sport at any time is you want to minimize turnovers. He has the best touchdown to interception ratio in NFL history. He's first. Tom Brady is second. By the way, how much is he in first? Each of his next 24 pass attempts could be picked off. And
24 straight.
Yep. Rodgers could throw an interception on each of his next 24 pass attempts and still have the highest touchdown-interception ratio in NFL history.
That's ridiculous.
He has 313 touchdowns and 78 interceptions. He could throw 24 straight interceptions and still be the best at it. It's really incredible. Most touchdown passes since 2008. Drew Brees leads with 354. Then it's Aaron Rodgers with 312. Most touchdown passes to wide receivers since 2008. Aaron Rodgers 229. Next is Drew Brees with 190. And you want to see that change a little bit. Aaron Rodgers got Jimmy Graham this year.
Yeah.
Jimmy Graham has to be. Jimmy Graham got the ball thrown to him by Drew Brees in New Orleans. He was somewhat wasted for a bit up in Seattle because a lot of times Russell Wilson was running for his life. And now he gets Aaron Rodgers throwing him the ball. And by the way, Riley, thank you for getting this to me so quick. We have 2 NFL players in the history of the league with guaranteed $100 million. Aaron Rodgers, 103, Matt Ryan, 100. There are 61 NBA players with at least $100 million contracts.
That's just currently. That's currently. That's why
that's all time.
That's all time. Oh, that's all time.
All time $100 million deal. So that's why every free agency year in the NBA, NFL players should shut it down and not look at anything because they all get sick to their stomachs.
That's what started Russell Okung, the offensive lineman for the Chargers, said we got to get these guaranteed contracts. Russell, it's starting, just not for people like you, unfortunately.
Exactly.
You're going to get them. And let's just say that it's a very, very good day to be Aaron. There you go. He is getting paid.
One of the greatest skits ever, by the way.
Without question. Yeah. And the other thing there, Brady does it differently, but Brady also finds a way sometimes on off-schedule plays. It doesn't look as graceful as Aaron Rodgers does it. He finds a way to get it done, too. And that is Straight Talk. Brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless, nationwide coverage on America's largest and most dependable 4G LTE networks.
When it comes to hiring, you don't have time to waste. You need help getting to your short list of qualified candidates fast. That's why you need Indeed.com. Post a job in minutes, set up screener questions, then zero in on qualified candidates using an intuitive online dashboard. And when you need to hire fast, accelerate your results with sponsored jobs. New users can try for free at Indeed.com/podcast. That's Indeed.com/podcast. Terms, conditions, and quality standards apply.
So he said, what were we doing at 10 years old? Adam nailed it. ESPN Golic, what were you doing at 10 years old? Wild guess. Playing football? Check. Eating chocolate? Check. Looking at the lingerie section of the JCPenney catalog? Check. Nailed it. Without question. Sports Center brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. When a player doesn't like a contract, they hold out, right? Well, with Straight Talk Wireless, you never have to because there's no contract. And they use the exact same 4G LTE towers as the big carriers, but for a lot less. Straight Talk Wireless, only at Walmart. Refer to terms and conditions of service at straighttalk.com.
All right, Golic and Wingo here with you, getting ready for full immersion in football, both collegiate and the NFL. Big games this weekend in college football. And Kirk Herbstreit's $1 Million Moment now is brought to you by Richt. Here's Herbie.
And now for this week's $1 Million Moment, brought to you by Richt. Some great games in week 1. And one of them that stands out to me is LSU and Miami. Very high on the Hurricanes this year. I think they have a chance to be competitive in the ACC and challenge Clemson even possibly in the ACC championship. The reason? Their great defense. A lot of veterans come back in the secondary and also at linebacker. And how about LSU? Joe Burrow wins a starting job, a transfer from Ohio State, an opportunity for him to showcase his talents finally as a starting quarterback. The only problem is he's breaking in a lot of new skill at wide receiver and running back. So he gets his first start, but look at the defense that he's going up against in Miami and also look at the skill that he has to work with. Could be a long night for Burrow and that LSU offense against the Canes.
It's going to be interesting. We're going to talk to Mark Richt in about 15 minutes, head coach at the U. I mean, they have
sounds like the turnover chain's going to come out again this year.
I had to wear it last year, so I wanted nothing to do with it. You know, for a team that's got their quarterback coming back, got the running back coming back, missing their 2 top receivers. So we'll talk to Coach about how you replace that. But the U usually doesn't struggle at finding receivers. We know they were down for a bit. He's certainly bringing them back. So, be good to talk to him as we get going. Again, we're going to talk to Mark Richt at Orgeron as well, the LSU head coach at 7:30 Eastern, 8:05 Eastern. Brian Kelly, head coach at Notre Dame, as they host Michigan coming up this weekend. That's where College Game Day is going to be. So we have games tonight. Northwestern's at Purdue.
Yep.
Northwestern opening up with a Big Ten school, first time I think since 1984.
I was going to say no preseason here.
No, none at all. Northwestern wins 10 games last year. They're trying to do that back to back for the first time in school history. UCF, the self-proclaimed national champs, they open up at UConn. So we'll say that they're like a 23-point favorite. Their quarterback's back. I think he threw like 37 touchdowns last year. And Mackenzie Milton and UConn gives up a ton of touchdowns. I think they were worst in the college last year, giving up touchdown passes. Could get ugly for UConn as UCF tries to, I guess, defend their mythical national championship.
Yeah.
That was fun for a bit, and then it got carried away. They went a little too far with it.
Mike,
you know?
We are the pettiest show in America. We appreciate the petty.
Yeah, that even went a little far for me. I'm not going to lie.
Keep riding that chain as long as you can, man. I'm all in on that.
I am not in on that
for
one.
as long as they want to, because that's what they have to cling to. By the way, we had this great researcher here named Riley. I'm trying to remember why she wasn't on the show more.
I can't remember.
There's
either.
no reason for her not to be on the show.
There were
more.
maybe fill-ins.
That's some guy I don't remember. I think his name was Larry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what it was. Anyway, I asked her, because Yelich went 6 for 6 in that game, as well as hitting for the cycle. What's rarer? Well, check this out. Since over the last 2 decades, people have hit for the cycle 79 times.
In the last 20 seasons.
In the last 20 seasons.
Okay.
Since the modern era in Major League Baseball.
Again, For some reason, the modern era is 1900.
Goes back to 1900.
Because everything was so modern back then. I guess back then it was modern.
Nothing has changed since 1900 in this country in any way, shape, or form. Since 1900, 6 for 6, 78 times.
Wow.
78 times in 118 years of Major League Baseball. And cycle, 79 times in the last 20 seasons. So, the cycle gets all the glory. Man, you go 6 for 6?
Yeah.
6 for 6. That's something to hang your career on right there.
What would you rather do? Again, it was Christian Yelich who went 6 for 6, but also hit for the cycle.
Yeah.
So did them both.
He doesn't have to pick.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That 6 for 6 in a cycle. That he's only joining Ian Kinsler in 2009, Rondell White 1995, and Bobby. And here it says it's Bobby Veach, right?
Veach. It was Bobby Beach on the.
It was Bobby Beach on the sheet, but it's Bobby Veach in 1920.
Everybody knew that.
What would you rather do? 6 hits or the cycle? If you and Yelich did them both, and it's not like they're mutually exclusive. You can do them both, but if you can do one.
I think I'd rather go 6 for 6.
I think I'd rather do the cycle.
I think there's a little luck involved with the cycle because the triple is the hardest thing. Let's be honest.
Yeah,
a home run is not. The triple is the hardest thing to get. But if you can say I went to bat 6 times and I got on base safely 6 times. Again,
no, 6 hits. They got on base.
I'm sorry,
walk.
Yes. I hit myself onto the bases 6 for 6. I think I'd rather do that. It's much rarer.
I know, it's definitely much
rarer.
It's definitely much rarer.
I was surprised it was that big of a disparity.
And plus, if you go 6 for 6, you're going to be tired.
Yes, and Christian Yelich said after the
so
game,
he said,
I was so tired. Coming up, a trio of injuries to update, a bizarre day for an NFL linebacker, and lots of college football.
Remember when you couldn't order a ride at the press of a button? Or get online without hearing this? Or get Domino's delivered to over 150,000 unexpected outdoor locations? Wait, what? Introducing Domino's Hotspots. You can finally get pizza delivered right to the beach, the quad, or the dog park. Not at home? Not a problem. Find a Domino's hotspot near you and get 2 medium 2-topping pizzas delivered for $5.99 each. 2-item minimum. Handmade pan pizzas will be extra asked for this limited time offer. Prices, participation, delivery area, and charges may vary. Restrictions apply. Visit Domino's.com for details on Domino's Hotspots.
Are you hiring? With Indeed, you can post a job in minutes, set up screener questions, then zero in on your short list of qualified candidates using an online dashboard. Get started today at Indeed.com/podcast. That's Indeed.com/podcast.
I'm a little discombobulated with that.
Yeah, how about that?
I'm a little taken back. Sometimes
like
Cliff takes us on a path that I'm not prepared for, and that was one of them. Cliff, you sneaky dog, you. Shaking things up all the time. Glad you're with us, Golic and Wingo, on a Thursday morning, ESPN Radio and ESPN News. We are presented by Progressive Insurance. All phone guests will join us via the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. You can get in touch with us a couple ways, 1-800-Flowers.com Twitter feed, at Golic and Wingo, or call in 860-506-5505 and light up Serena and Venus meeting again for the 16th time in a Grand Slam coming up in the third round Friday. Tell us about your craziest sibling.
There you go. Yeah.
You had to have some growing up, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean,
you and your brothers?
My brother Greg was closer in age to me. He was only like a year and a half older than me. Bob was like 6 years, so we never really competed, and I was always following really up.
So he was beating up on you, is what you're saying.
Oh, yeah. Let me tell you what. You want to talk about the classic baby brother getting beat up on? Yeah. Because they were both bigger than me, both beat up on me. Bob used to hit us when he'd get mad, right? Used to punch us. And again, he was like way older than us, and he was big, and his punches hurt. So we would just want to get him in trouble. So we just told our parents that that he would punch us because we just want to get him in trouble.
Yeah.
So my dad said next time you punch him, you obviously you're going to be in big trouble. What they punish him with. But so just as soon as we heard that, we aggravated Bob enough to punch one of us. And then we ran and told our parents we were so bad just to get him in trouble.
You played the system perfectly.
Oh, yeah, absolutely
in
right.
fact, you played the system almost as well as
Aaron
did in getting his big deal. So we'll get into more of that and the NFL a little bit. We're a week away from the start of the NFL season. A week from tonight, it'll be the Eagles hosting the Atlanta Falcons and the traditional Super Bowl champions opening up at home and raising the banner. Something, by the way, that one of their players wants no part of.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
we can get into that a little bit later. But we are ready for full immersion.
Yes, we are. As long as
football.
With our next guest, we don't speak of a game last year.
We will not talk about
it. Just not speak of one game last year. It's a new year. Let's move on.
For you specifically.
Yes.
For you, because you don't want to talk about what the U
did to
your alma mater.
I'd rather not.
We'll seamlessly go over that, but we are delighted to be joined now on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line by the U's head coach, Mark Richt, joining us on that Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Get triple action protection for optimal engine performance with, wait for it, Shell V-Power Nitro Plus Premium Gasoline. Coach, how are you this morning?
I'm doing well. How are you guys?
Doing well, Coach.
We're doing really, really well. For those that may not know, Mark Richt obviously is at Miami, his alma mater. Mm-hmm. And were it not for one of the greatest quarterback rooms of all time, Mark, when you were in college, you might not be a head coach because tell people the story.
It was pretty loaded in there. Jim Kelly, of course, was a senior when I was a senior. And then at the same time, Bernie Kosar and Vinny Testaverde were freshmen. And Jim and I would – those preseason camps when you let the freshmen take a couple series here and there in the scrimmages, we were just shaking our heads saying it's a good thing we're getting out of here because those guys are coming on. And, of course, Vinny was the first pick of the draft. Bernie was, first-round draft pick in the supplemental draft. I mean, 3 first-rounders and me. It was good.
It's pretty. And by the way, Mark's senior year, Jim Kelly's senior year, I was actually on the field. I was a true freshman when we went down to the U and we got smoked there that year. So I got to see some of that up close and personal, that quarterback stuff.
That was that was Faust's last game, right?
Oh no! He had another year. He had one more year after that. Let's stop talking about my history now because it's not good what I'm saying.
You
right
have
now.
the floor, Mike. Continue.
All right, Coach. Going into this year, I mean, everybody talking about the U being back, and that's what everybody was waiting for, especially the alum, which are so vocal about that. Here's a team preseason number 8. How do you go into the offseason and then into spring ball knowing that, and your players knowing that this program is really on its way back up? How do you deal with that with the players and their expectations?
Well, I mean, it's exciting. You want to go to a school that has the tradition of greatness, and you want to go to a school that has done it before because they can do it again. I mean, 5 national championships in a 20-year span at one time. That happened, and then the program kind of went dormant for about 15 years, and now we're trying to become as good as the past. To say we'll be the best team ever in the history of Miami football would be too bold of a statement for me to say when you look back at some of the teams that they had. But if we could be as good as them, then we'd be on top of the college football world, that's for sure.
Well, listen, you're one of it's going to be a great start to the college football season as Sunday, 7:30. At AT&T Stadium, Miami takes on LSU, one of 4 ranked opponents going in to start the season. So, Coach, there's no easing into the season for you guys.
No, not this year. I'm not sure why we scheduled this one, but it's, when you make those decisions like 2 and 3 years in advance, it seems like a good idea. Then you get closer and you're like, why do we do that? But no, it's a great challenge for us. The excitement is, of our fan base is, as good as it's probably been in a long, long time. So you do it for your fans, and you do it to find out what you got. And both teams are going to find out what we have.
There's no question about it, and that should be, defense reigns supreme for a lot of years at LSU. It seems like every year they have 1 or 2 defensive backs going in the first or second round of the draft, and the defense from Miami this year, Coach, is really, really strong again. So I guess the biggest question that Mike doesn't want to hear about, but I'm going to ask it: how soon are we going to break out the turnover chain this year?
Well, that was a big key last year. I mean, 31 turnovers last year, and we and you get that chain and you make it big and gaudy and you make it Miami. And, if you get about 4 turnovers, everybody's going to make fun of you. But when we were averaging about 4 a game for about 3 or 4 games in midseason, it just took on a life of its own. But we've got a new version of it. I'm not allowed to say what it looks like yet, but we're looking forward to hopefully breaking that thing out a few times, because it's as we know, besides the score, the number one stat in who wins and loses is that turnover ratio. So we work so hard at that.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Let people say what they want. You guys are wearing that chain on the sideline. That means good things are happening. We're talking to Mark Richt, head coach at Miami, ACC Coach of the Year. On the offensive side, your quarterback's back. You lose your top 2 receivers in Herndon, who's the tight end, and Berrios, who's with the Patriots now. Your next 6 players, it took all 6 of those to equal what those 2 caught. And the guy that was maybe filling in for Herndon and Irvin, Michael Irvin's kid, hurt his knee, and he's out for a little bit of time. So a running back is back. Talk about the weapon in the passing game where you've lost some people there.
Yeah, we have. The one guy we're hoping to get back at full strength is Amon Richards. And, of course, Amon, as a true freshman, broke Michael Irvin's dad's records as a freshman, had close to 1,000 yards receiving his freshman year. And then last year he had a major pulling of the hamstring in camp and just never really recovered to become, get back to where he was. And he's practicing well. We're excited about him being back. Travis Homer, as you mentioned, came in after Mark Walton got hurt and filled in beautifully. We feel very confident in what he can do. DJ Dallas last year was a receiver, trying to get him to cut weight to about 195, and then Walton got hurt. We said, hey, we got to move you to running back. So he was, around 195, 200 last year. This year he's 220 pounds. He trained the whole offseason to be a running back, so that'll help us too. But, the big thing, as you know, is, can you get the job done up front?
Yeah.
Malik, I could tell you this, Malik's a better passer when he's got a good pocket, I think it's true of every quarterback. And so if we protect well and provide, space for these runners, we'll be fine.
Yeah, Homer, I saw just a hair under 1,000 yards last year, about 6 yards a carry, but you're right, you need the beef up front to do it as well. Just how different is, because we've been dealing with the NFL and their 4 preseason games getting ready for the first regular season, as Trey already mentioned. You guys don't have preseason games. So just how difficult is it for a coach to see what this team is going to do in week 1 compared to what they're going to be 5, 6, 7 weeks later?
Yeah. You don't know for sure, but, that's why we scrimmage. Our scrimmages are the closest thing we can get to a game situation, and usually our third scrimmage simulates a practice game. What we tend to do is say, hey, man, it's halftime. Like this year, we say it's halftime, we're down by 17, and we got to dig and claw and try to get back into this game and try to win it. And then you practice the things like going from your offense to your punt team, or from your defense to your punt return, or your kickoff team to your offense. The transition from your kicking teams to your regular scrimmage downs is something you really don't do in most scrimmages. So we do that on the third scrimmage, just to try to simulate what the game might be like. But until you play it, you really don't know.
Mark Richt joining us this morning, head coach at Miami. Miami is 8th in the preseason poll, takes on 25th ranked LSU Sunday, 7:30 Eastern on ABC from AT&T Stadium. Miami's favored in every game this season. They're 3.5-point favorite over LSU.
Boy, coaches hate to.
Yeah, we don't want to talk about that. I'm just putting it out there for informational purposes, Coach. That's all I'm doing. But as Mark is with us, it's been kind of a rough month for college football on a lot of different levels. Mark, can you explain from your perspective what college football and football in general has meant to you, and what you think people can get out of playing college football?
Well, I coach football, college football in particular, because of the age group of these young men. They're 18 to 22. They're going from boyhood to manhood, and boyhood is about guys that are irresponsible and guys that need to be led around and kind of helped along the way. They're kind of highly dependent on people. And when they leave college, you hope they've joined manhood, which is responsible people that are ready to take on life and ready to be responsible human beings and take care of their wives and their kids and their families and their communities. And so it's just a great time of their lives to not only realize their dreams in football, but also realize their dreams and even maybe help them understand what their dreams ought to be for their life. And that's what makes it fun for me. It really helps make me tick when you feel like you've made a difference in somebody's life. And there's nothing like it. There's nothing like it.
And then as far as procedures, I'm curious, when the Maryland situation went on and just the unfortunate passing of the player in Jordan McNair and all that's going on there with the culture, they say, of the program. And then from the coach's side of it with Urban Meyer and his assistant coach at Ohio State, when things like that happen, do you as a head coach from the player side, when the awful thing happened at Maryland, do you go over procedures again? Does that make you go over them and make sure you guys are on point with them? And then with the Urban thing, does it make you talk to your coaches about those situations and redo things, or do you just let it all go?
No, I mean, we do that from the get-go. I mean, we have what we call a hideaway where we'll go and we'll just have a private time where there's no interruptions, and we just talk about these kind of things, just procedure and just what we're about. What our coach's mission statement is. How are we going to go about this thing, and what are our guiding principles from the very beginning? So, and we have, every day we have a staff meeting. Every day we talk about how we want to go about our business, and so there's. Thankfully, I grew up under Coach Bobby Bowden, and he did things a certain way that I think most every parent would be excited about their son being a part of, as far as how do we go about this thing. Are we motivating through fear? Are we motivating through love? I mean, how are we doing this thing now? There's times you got to get on a guy that's just stubborn and stiff-necked, and you got to maybe be a little harder or harsher as you try to motivate him. But in the end, we're doing it because we love them, we care about them, we want them to be great on and off the field. So once those kids understand that where we're coming from and why we're doing what we're doing, why do you discipline? Discipline's painful when it happens, but it's designed to correct things, and it's designed to make you better. And if they understand our motivation behind it, then things tend to go better, and that's kind of how we try to do it.
Talking to Mark Richt, head coach of the U, two-time SEC coach of the year, ACC coach of the year, open up Sunday night against LSU at AT&T Stadium on ABC. So let's end it on a bit of a light note. Some of the notable NFL players that you coached, Geno Atkins, A.J. Green, Todd Gurley, Matthew Stafford, outside of the fact that they're all unbelievably rich with some of the deals they signed, let's put you on the spot. Who's the best player you ever coached?
You can't do that to him.
I ever coached. The best player that I ever coached was Charlie Ward.
Really? Wow.
While I was at Florida State, I was a quarterbacks coach. He could do it all, and he was an unbelievable leader. But as far as just the best guy that would be a great pro, one guy that's just different in his position than anybody else I ever coached. There's probably two. Gurley's just. I've never seen anything like Gurley.
Yeah.
Just big, tall, fast, powerful, great hands. I mean, every box you could check for a running back, he'd be like a 10 across the board, in my opinion. And he loved the big games, Of course, Stafford, I knew when I saw his tape in high school, he'd be maybe the first pick of the draft. I mean, you could just see it. His skill set was so strong. But then a guy like Geno Atkins kind of snuck through the radar, and not everybody in the state of Florida even wanted him. And we when I was at Georgia, we snuck him out of the state of Florida, and he just quietly became a beast. I mean, he's one guy that I would actually watch. I would watch the defense, I'm calling plays and stuff like that, but in between I'd just watch him to see what he was going to do next. And you did mention A.J. Green. He was, I guess you could add him to the freak category as far as a guy with tall, fast, change of direction, loves football, great kid. I mean, I've been blessed to have some really good ones, so. You named some pretty strong candidates right there.
Well, I tell you what, you rattled them off well, too. I tell you what, as we're talking to Mark Richt, Miami head coach, that should be on your resume. Come play for me, and look what I can do for you. Look what I can do for you and your future financial earnings. Unbelievable. Hey, Coach, thanks for being with us this morning. We're looking forward to college football. It should be a great game. I know you're having second thoughts about scheduling it, but as fans of college football, we are excited. We are excited about the showdown Sunday against LSU.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, guys. Thank you.
See you.
Mark Richt. Again, and you can thank all his coaching prowess on the fact that he was in the same quarterback room with Jim Kelly, Vinny Testaverde, and Bernie Kosar.
How about, isn't that amazing?
Nope, I got to find another way to make a living because I will not be playing quarterback.
Wasn't going to do it as a quarterback. How about that? Charlie Ward was and Charlie Ward never even went on to play in the NFL.
Played a little NBA.
NBA.
I thought that was interesting.
Really, really was.
Yeah, I forgot all the time he had spent with Bobby Bowden there.
And that's one, but the Georgia-Florida recruiting.
Oh my gosh.
That's one. If Geno Atkins wasn't heavily recruited, but then it turns out he leaves the state and becomes what he becomes, that's when you look back and you kind of kick yourself to say, why didn't we see something like that? As he just signs a new deal for $63 million or whatever it was. Mm-hmm. He and Carlos Dunlap, his line mate there in Cincinnati.
Yeah, again, Golic and Wingo presented by 1-800-Flowers.com. Surprise your friend or loved one today with a bouquet from 1-800-Flowers.com. When you order a dozen multicolored roses for $29.99, you get another dozen absolutely free. We didn't do what's trending at the start, Mike, so let's whip through that here real quickly. And there are some injury updates out there that people need to be aware of. Again, we're dealing with the Chris Sale injury with the shoulder back on the DL for the Red Sox, so the last thing they need is another starter being injured. Well, they may have to deal with that. Red Sox pitcher David Price was hit in the wrist by a comebacker. X-rays were negative, though. That's the most important thing.
Important thing, so hopefully he won't miss too much time, if any at all. The X-rays being negative being the key, as everybody wants to be healthy going in to the playoffs. Albert Pujols had arthroscopic knee surgery, effectively ending his season. It's been interesting. It hasn't been, he signed that big deal there since 2016. His WAR has been 0.
Wins above replacement.
He turns 39 in January. They still owe him $28 million in 2019, $29 million in 2020, and $30 million in 2021.
God bless you, Albert Pujols.
A lot of people said it at the time when they signed him to that deal that this was just going to come back to haunt him, and they're certainly, I believe, in that position.
Right. Again, we'll see what he has coming back as the 39-year-old. And then maybe good news for the Mystics, Elena Deladon. We were all scared about that when she limped off the field. Now, a bone bruise is nothing to laugh at.
No, it is not, but it's not a torn ACL.
It's not a torn ACL, exactly.
They have their game that's even up that series, best of 5, Washington and Atlanta. It's 1-1. Game 3 is Friday, so we'll see if she can play in that, but just that bone bruise. Again, I say just because it's not a ligament tear, so we'll see if and when she can get back.
Staying with what's trending, we're going to see it for the 16th time in a Grand Slam. Serena and Venus both won their second-round matchups, which means they will play each other in the third round at the U.S. Open. Is one of the earliest times they've ever played each other in a Grand Slam.
17-12 overall, Serena over Venus, 10-5 in majors. And again, they just continue, as we call it, the sibling rivalry of when they were obviously little girls practicing together, with their father, to what they're doing right now. That's why we've asked the question out there, what's your most competitive sibling rivalry out there, or what are some of the stories for it? Because this has been going on for decades with these two.
Yeah, and then we'll look forward to what should be another matchup Friday night with them as well. And Mike, this is a bizarre story. Okay, Michael Kendricks, you want to talk about life comes at you fast? He wins the Super Bowl. Then he's traded to Cleveland, which went winless last year.
Right.
And now he may be facing jail time for insider trading.
Yeah, so what happened here, basically he put in $80,000 of his own money and sweetened, I think, with like tickets and things like that,
right?
Other gifts like that, and he ended up making $1.2 million in profit off illegal, non-public information on 4 separate major deals. He has copped to it. If you read what he wrote yesterday, said, I take full responsibility for what I did. From the Brown side of it, they knew this before they traded for him, but it was put to them by Kendricks that he was the victim of this. Now, in light, as John Dorsey, the GM in Cleveland, said, in light of this new information where he wasn't so much a victim, he kind of knew what was going on and knew what he was doing, they released him.
Yeah, so again, February, wins Super Bowl, traded to an 0-16 team, and then facing jail time for insider trading and released.
Yeah.
And the irony here, you'll look at it that way, in the last episode of Hard Knocks, the Browns were using Michael Kendricks' inside information on the Eagles to get ready for the preseason game, and now insider trading has ended his career at the moment in the NFL, depending on what happens with these charges. All right, coming up, we just had a great conversation with the U's head coach, Mark Richt. He's having second thoughts about their opener because they play LSU Sunday in Arlington. And up next, we'll talk to the one and only Ed Orgeron from LSU about that matchup and whether or not he's having second thoughts, Mike.
Support for the Golic and Wingo Show podcast comes from our friends at Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Let's talk about buying homes for a minute. Because of rising interest rates, there's a lot of unpredictability when it comes to buying a home these days. It's causing a whole lot of anxiety with folks. Well, our friends at Quicken Loans are doing something about it. They're calling it the power buying process, and here's how it works. Quicken Loans will verify your income, assets, and credit in less than 24 hours to give you a verified approval. This gives you the strength of a cash buyer. Then once you're verified, you qualify for their all-new exclusive Rate Shield approval. First, they lock your rate for up to 90 days while you shop. Now here's the best part. If rates go up, your rate stays the same. But if rates go down, your rate also drops. You win either way. It's the kind of thinking you'd expect from America's largest mortgage lender. To get started, go to rocketmortgage.com/Golic. Rate Shield approval only valid on certain 30-year purchase transactions. Additional conditions or exclusions may apply. Based on Quicken Loans data in comparison to public data record. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLSconsumeraccess.org number 3030.
Remember when you couldn't order a ride at the press of a button? Or get online without hearing this? Or get Domino's delivered to over 150,000 unexpected outdoor locations? Wait, what? Introducing Domino's Hotspots. You can finally get pizza delivered right to the beach, the quad, or the dog park. Not at home? Not a problem. Find a Domino's hotspot near you and get 2 medium 2-topping pizzas delivered for $5.99 each. 2-item minimum. Handmade pan pizzas will be extra asked for this limited time offer. Prices, participation, delivery area, and charges may vary. Restrictions apply. Visit Domino's.com for details on Domino's Hotspots.
Well, glad you're with us this morning. Golic and Wingo, ESPN Radio and ESPN News, presented by Progressive Insurance. All phone guests join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. We're Golic and Wingo, and our college football talk is brought to you by Dr. Pepper. Get to your local store today and grab some delicious ice-cold Dr. Pepper, the drink of Fansville, now playing everywhere college football games are played. Dr. Pepper, by the way, invented in Waco, Texas.
There you go.
There you go.
How about that?
Home of my alma mater, Baylor University. Baylor University is not playing.
No, they're not.
At AT&T Stadium. That is one of the 4 ranked versus ranked opponents we have week 1 of the college football season. It is LSU against 8th-ranked Miami. We just spoke a few moments ago to Mark Richt, the Miami head coach, and we're delighted now to be joined on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line by Ed Orgeron of the 25th-ranked LSU Tigers. Ed, thanks for being with us this morning. We just had Mark Richt on, and he said, I'm kind of rethinking the idea of why we scheduled this game against LSU.
First
it seems
game
like
of the season.
We're putting a lot of pressure on ourselves first game of the season. Do you feel the same way?
You know, I think it's a great opportunity for our team against a great Miami football team, and a venue in Dallas where it's a big recruiting area for us, also Houston, so we're excited to play this game.
You know, we're so used to, and we've been talking about, Coach, the NFL and the preseason games and how they go about how much do the starters play to get ready for the regular season. And we know in college football there is no preseason. So how do you get your team ready without preseason games to jump right into a game of this magnitude?
Well, you know, being in the NFL for 1 year, after that I started our camp. We have 3 preseason games on Saturday. They're scrimmages, but we treat them as preseason games. So we feel that our team's ready to go. Obviously, preseason game 1, you're going to make more mistakes than preseason game 2, but we're fresh. We're ready to go. We can't wait to get to Dallas.
Ed Orgeron with us, LSU's head coach. Again, great start to the college football season. LSU taking on Miami Sunday, 7:30 Eastern on ABC from AT&T Stadium, otherwise known as Jerry's World. It's a great spectacle. It's become one of the big events to start college football every year, and we're looking forward to seeing that game Sunday night. Coach, one of the things that it seems to be every year about LSU is you're going to get 4, 5, 6 defensive players in the first round of the NFL draft or the first couple of rounds of the NFL draft, especially defensive backs. It seems like LSU every year has one of the premier defensive backs in college football. And you've got 2 on Mel Kiper's big board. You have Devin White and one of the great nicknames of all time, Greedy Williams
yeah.
at number 4 and 6, respectively. First of all, do we know how Greedy got the nickname? Because that is one of the greatest nicknames ever for a cornerback.
You know, I don't know that, but Greedy's a great young man right there from Shreveport, Louisiana. I know his whole family's going to be at the game. Tremendous young man, tremendous player for us.
And what is it about LSU? It just seems like defensive backs there, they go. You can go on and from Tre'Davious White to Patrick Peterson to all these guys that have come out of LSU in the defensive backfield and made such an impact on the NFL. What is it about the way you guys coach? Jamal Adams, I'm forgetting him as well. What does it say about your program that you continue to crank out these guys?
Well, you know, there's been a great tradition here. They call it DBU. Corey Raymond's been our defensive backfield coach for a long time. Now we've added Bill Bush. Those guys have done a tremendous job of recruiting the position and carrying on that great tradition we have, such as Patrick Peterson, Tre'Davious White, Jamal Adams, who's from Dallas, and we feel like Gritty Williams and a couple other guys we have on our team will carry on that tradition.
Talking to Ed Orgeron, head coach at LSU. And by the way, our researchers just found out, Ed, so you can know now, Greedy got his nickname from his grandmother. She was the one who nicknamed him Greedy. So there you go. On the other side of the ball, your quarterback, Joe Burrow, the graduate transfer from Ohio State, comes over after spring and is going to start the season out as your starting quarterback. What did you see in him, or what did he show you that said he needs to be our starter?
Leadership, maturity, anticipation, very accurate with his throws, ability to make something happen when it's not there. It was a very close call between him and Miles Brennan. I believe Miles Brennan has the opportunity to be a championship quarterback here at LSU also. It was a close call.
Is it when you say, a close call, we've seen it time and time again in college football where coaches will go from one to another quarterback if need be. What is your style? Is the starter is there, or if need be, will you use two quarterbacks?
Yeah, well, Joe's our starter. And just like any other position, if he's not getting the job done, we're able to put someone else. So I told Miles he's one play away.
We're talking to Ed Orgeron, LSU's head coach. Ed, we asked this question of Mark Richt, and I want to ask it of you as well. It's been a rough month for college football with things that went on at Ohio State, as well as the unfortunate death of Jordan McNair at Maryland, and they're talking about how they're trying to change that culture. So there's been a lot of negativity about college football. So I'm going to ask you the same question I asked Mark. What do you get out of coaching young men, and why is football important to you? And tell people why the sport should matter and why it means so much to you.
It teaches you discipline. It gave me an education. Without football, I wouldn't have got my education in college. I wouldn't be where I am today for sure. But I think as coaches, we're also like parents. We're like leaders. A lot of these young men look to us and leading them in their personal lives. We want to show them how to do the things the right way. And as much as there is negativity, there are great stories in college football. There's more great stories than there are negative. Obviously, everyone wants to talk about the negative, but look all the guys that we're graduating. We're graduating now guys at a high rate. We got more guys in the NFL, so there's a lot of great things going on at LSU.
And then you open up this game with Miami, and again, as we talked about with no preseason, how different do college teams look from that game 1, game 2 to game 6, game 7 because they don't get to go through a preseason?
Yeah, you find out who you are. You find out where your deficiencies are. Obviously, in camp, everybody's feeling good, but there's going to be some mistakes made. There's going to be some mismatches that we have to find out. There'll be plays that will work, plays that don't work, but, you grow the most from your first game to your second game.
Certainly do, and that first game is going to be a tough one.
Yes, it is.
No question about it, as LSU takes on Miami Sunday, 7:30 Eastern on ABC from AT&T Stadium. Coach, we appreciate you being with us. We're looking forward to another great season of college football, and we'll see you down in Baton Rouge when we're on the road down there in early November. Thanks for getting up early this morning with us, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you, guys. Go Tigers.
There you go.
I love that guy.
I love Ed Orgeron.
And how about
By the way, did you see this clip? Someone asked him at a press conference once. They said, Ed, do you think your team is better than people think you are? He goes, yes, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, he's straight to the bottom.
Yeah.
And the bottom line is players love him.
Absolutely.
Players love to play. There is, listen, I've always said a player can motivate himself and should be able to. Now, college can be different than the pros to get you ready to go, and you should be wanting to play at 100% all the time. But there is nothing like loving that coach and the energy that he brings and wanting to play for a coach. And that's the way people feel about Ed when he had been, interim coach at places. Players were always like, just hire him.
Right.
While sometimes schools wanted to look for the quote-unquote, and I'm using the air quotes, bigger name.
The guy.
The players were the ones that want to say, no. We love this guy. We love what he's doing. So I really hope he does well there. But what a schedule. They start with Miami, and then their third game, they're at Auburn.
Wow.
I mean, 2 weeks later. That is tough. Wow.
Let me put it this way. They'll earn whatever they get this year.
Yeah.
We all know how difficult the SEC can be, and then playing teams like Miami outside of your conference. I mean, it could be a big statement very early for a team like LSU.
You got a quarterback in Burrow ready to break out. The transfer played behind J.T. Barrett the last couple of years, and now he's got a team. This is his team down in the SEC, and let's see what he can do.
And that's sort of been the one thing that LSU hasn't been able to latch on to, find that star quarterback. I mean, Zach Mettenberger played very well for them a couple of years ago, but they haven't had the lineage at quarterback that other teams had. So you get a guy like that, add it to the defense they always seem to produce, could be a very interesting season for LSU.
When it comes to hiring, you don't have time to waste. You need help getting to your short list of qualified candidates fast. That's why you need Indeed.com. Post a job in minutes, set up screener questions, then zero in on qualified candidates using an intuitive online dashboard. And when you need to hire fast, accelerate your results with sponsored jobs. New users can try for free at Indeed.com/podcast. That's Indeed.com/podcast. Terms, conditions, and quality standards apply.
All right, that music from the People's Court can only mean one thing. It's time to play Book It. And Bubble Boy Debbie, you ready to proceed with the questions?
Always ready.
Let's go, big man.
Aaron Rodgers will never win another Super Bowl. Book it.
Well, the premise here, real quickly, is that no team has ever won a Super Bowl paying its quarterback $20 million per year, although that's somewhat misleading because there are years when Brady has won it where they reworked his contract.
That's exactly right.
It was bonus. He made well over 20, and they won it that year.
Plus, sooner or later, just about every quarterback's going to make over 20, so that's going to end. I think he has a shot to win another one. I'm not going to book that. I think he's got a number of years left, so I will not book that. I think because it's Aaron Rodgers and they have time to still put players around him to get there, I don't think it'll be this year, but I do think he can win another Super Bowl.
Big boy, I'm with you. Can't book it. Can't book it. He's too good, and I
can't do it.
As long as he's healthy, they have a chance.
Won't do it.
Two. Remember that one playoff game against the Cardinals? He had 2 Hail Marys in that one game. All right, we continue.
Des Bryant will play before Khalil Mack this season. Book it.
Wow, that is a great question.
That might be the best book it question we've ever had. Who thought of that?
Wow.
It couldn't have been Bubble Boy.
It was not me.
There you go.
Des Bryant will play before Khalil Mack. Remember, Des Bryant had said that he wants to make sure he's right, so he probably won't play till he's into the season. Khalil Mack, it doesn't seem like if he doesn't have a deal and doesn't get traded, isn't stepping foot. He'll miss. He'll again. I believe the number is $814,000
per game.
Every game that goes by.
That's like a week of salary for you.
It's not going in his pocket. I say Des Bryant's going to play before Khalil Mack. I will book that.
You can book it.
I'm going the other way. I can't book it because I'm not sure. Des has had 2 opportunities where it looked like he was going to sign. He said no to the Ravens, and then the Browns kind of said no to him. When he went, I mean, that Hard Knocks episode, he thought he was getting a deal there.
Right.
I think Khalil Mack will be on the field before Des Bryant.
Do you think he'll be on the field before Des Bryant if he gets traded or with the Raiders or with another team?
I think if he gets traded. I think he's dug in.
So you think if it gets on the field before Des Bryant, it will be with another team?
And by the way, there's a great article on ESPN.com right now of 5 potential landing spots in a trade that would make sense for
both by the
parties.
way, the Raiders want 2 number ones.
They're not getting 2 number ones.
No.
What else? Debbie's number 1.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Clemson or Alabama will miss the college football playoff. Book it.
Both schools have made the last 3. Bama has made all 4. Clemson has a 67% chance of making the college football playoff, the highest of any team. Alabama second at 47%. There's no way I can book that.
I can't book it.
No.
I can't book it.
So, no.
I'm with you. There's just too much precedent there.
Clemson's defensive line.
Oh, my God.
Is an NFL defensive line.
Well, they'll have 3 of those guys drafted maybe in the first
round.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Including splits guy, Christian Wilkins.
Oh, my gosh. So, no, I can't book that
I can't book it either.
Yeah.
Hitting for the cycle is more impressive than throwing a no-hitter.
So give the stat again.
Oh, well, this is
the no-hitter. Throwing a no-hitter. I'm sorry.
There have been 321 cycles.
Right.
299 no-hitters in Major League history. So, actually throwing a no-hitter is more rare than hitting for the cycle. Since the mound was lowered in 1969, there have been 132 no-hitters and 156 cycles.
One of the most rare things has been that 4 home run game. There's only been 16 of those.
Yeah.
The walk-off balk, there's been 22 of those, and perfect games, 23 of those.
But the question is, more impressive than throwing a no-hitter. Look, there's a little bit of luck involved with the cycle when it comes to the triple. The triple is the quirkiest hit in baseball. Now, you can say luck in what case?
Because, you mean a guy diving and missing the ball?
Yeah.
Because,
Well, there's a little, The triple is the rarest hit in baseball.
It is. Yeah.
And I mean, it's hard to do.
I'm going to say, in fact, you got to go through 27 batters. I'm going to say the no-hitter.
Yeah, I'm not. We can't book that one. We're both going that the no-hitter is more impressive.
Yeah.
Last one up. Serena Williams win the U.S. Open. Book it.
Oh boy, she's won at least one major every year since 2012. In 2011, she lost her only major final appearance. That was at the U.S. Open. I don't know, man.
I mean, number one's out.
Number one's
Halep is out.
But she was, I mean, in my mind, she wasn't a true number one because of the way she plays on a hard court.
I think Serena's going to win more majors.
Yeah. I'm not sure if it's this year. I can't book it. I want to, but I can't book it. There's too many young players. We had last year the semifinals on the women's side. All four were Americans.
Yeah.
There's a lot of, Angelique Kerber's playing very well. Garbina Muguruza's playing very. I can't book it.
Just because
you want to hear the sound.
I want to hear the sound, and she does have the ability to do it. I'm not completely sold, but I'll still book it.
You can book it.
I'll book it. Let me book that.
Yeah. That would be a bad book if Friday night she loses.
Yeah, that would be a really bad book.
Yeah.
Well, then I could just scratch out the Serena and say Williams.
There you go.
Yeah.
You have a plan.
See,
you think he's just a pretty face.
Nope.
He has a plan.
Nope.
Coming up, we're trying to get that pretty face as the celebrity picker this weekend at South Bend. We're talking to someone who may help us with that influence. Stay with us.
Remember when you couldn't order a ride at the press of a button? Or get online without hearing this? Or get Domino's delivered to over 150,000 unexpected outdoor locations? Wait, what? Introducing Domino's Hotspots. You can finally get pizza delivered right to the beach.